What's up, City Sports Network? I'm here with a very special guest, quarterback of the West Texas Warbirds, Chris Ware. Chris, how you doing today, man?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So this past season, you wrapped up with the Warbirds. As I said, it was a long season for you guys. Obviously, first year in the NAL. How do you feel about your season as a whole?
Well, I didn't come in until there were only about 4 games left, so I was just kind of up. They had some quarterback issues with the team, and then for the 4 games we played, we went 1-3. I think if we're talking about the Warbird season as a whole, obviously it's a little bit disappointing knowing that they've won back-to-back championships and have had that success in the IFL and whatnot, and then going to the NAL. I think a lot of the games that were lost throughout the season weren't by much. I think there was only one or two that were actually a loss, I would say. But to play in a bunch of close games like that, it's a little disheartening for a lot of the guys that were involved.
For sure. I mean, I feel like you played pretty well. I believe you had 11 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. So, pretty good ratio right there. How would you assess your personal performance?
Having been out of the game for a little bit, I would say I was a little bit rusty, getting used to the arena game again. Took a little bit of time. I do think that for the short amount of time that I was there, I can say I'm probably happy with the performance, although I would have liked a couple more of those games for sure.
For sure. So your football journey has taken you all over the world.
Absolutely.
Different Texas, Oregon, to overseas. So take me all the way back to your high school career. Were you a multi-sport athlete in high
Yeah.
school?
So I was originally at Tascosa High School in Amarillo, Texas. Played basketball, baseball, track, football. Did all of those things. I did leave halfway through my junior year and moved up to Oregon. Went to 2 different high schools up there. Finished out my junior year at one, and then my senior year, my dad ended up moving to a different school. So kind of traveled around with him. Again, just played all the sports up there. Originally, after graduating, I signed with Western Washington to be a strong safety. Due to some family issues and whatnot, I would say that we had to postpone that journey. I sat out the year since I signed the letter of intent, and then walked on with West Texas A&M. Got picked up by them, but 2 weeks before training camp, I actually had a car accident that probably should have cost me my life, and even more so the playing career and whatnot. So I ended up trying out for after all the car crash stuff happened. What happened was I fractured my skull in 3 places, had a blood clot, had to have surgery, all that good stuff. My doctor said that I probably wouldn't play football again, but when I was 21, the last time I visited him, he said, "Look, if you don't hear from me in about 6 months, you can assume you're good to play." So 6 months to the day came, didn't hear from him, so I went back to pursuing the dream. At the time, I tried out for I think at the time it was the Amarillo Venom. Got picked up by them, but right before we started camp, the coach said, "Hey, if you haven't used any of your college eligibility, go do that because you're going to sell yourself short here." So ended up calling my dad. We had originally planned to visit Eastern Oregon, which turned out to be the school I attended, and then kind of go down to California and do the JUCO scene. I think I threw a total of 6 passes in that walk-on tryout deal with Eastern, and then they said come inside and talked about a partial scholarship, and I played all 4 years there. Went to Sweden post college. Had a little bit of a workout with the Chargers, I guess you could say. They came to the school. Same year they signed Charlie Whitehurst as the backup. So I went and played in Sweden. Came back from there, played for the Wyoming Cavalry in the Arena League. Moved around a little bit with that, and then came to Texas and really started adulthood, I guess you could say. Started working and whatnot, but they had a semi-pro team here, and just for the love of game, I continued to play. Being a local guy in the area, I got picked up by at the time, they were the West Texas, what was the name? Wildcatters. They had a couple games left in the season. Their starting quarterback went down. They called me up. I think I played 3 games with them at the end of the season. Played a little bit more semi-pro ball after that. Kind of hung them up there for a little bit, and of course, when I say hung them up, I've probably retired 3 or 4 times now. And then somehow just let people coerce me back into it. But kind of same thing happened here. I hadn't even been in the gym in probably 3 months or so, so there was no prep involved. But they called me up and said, "Hey, we need somebody to come in, and we know you're local and somewhat familiar with the game still, so." Really asked my 6-year-old son if he wanted me to play football again. He said yes, and so we rolled with it.
That's an amazing story. Throughout that journey, you have to have a lot of perseverance and mental toughness. What keeps you going every day?
I would say right now, absolutely my son. He loves football. I always hoped when he was a baby that he wouldn't love it as much as I did. I think he might love it just as much, if not more, than I did. So he's the inspiration for everything. If he wants me to do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability, so that he can see. It's not about what you have or where you come from or anything like that. It's about the work you want to put in for it.
For sure. So the Armadillo Venom are coming back. They announced last week, I believe. They're coming back. How do you feel about that? You think that's a possible landing spot for you?
With me being in Midland, I think that if I were to stay with the game, it would probably still be with the Wildcatters, just because it is local and I wouldn't have to travel to Amarillo. Plus, my son's in school and all that stuff. So it only makes sense that if I were to continue, that it would have to be something more local than the 3.5-hour drive.
For sure. So you've been on many organizations. You were overseas. How would you compare your West Texas Warbirds experience to some of the other experiences you've had?
I think it's good. I think the biggest takeaway that most football players get when they join a team is the camaraderie and brotherhood that you get out of it. I think those are things that you can look at guys and look at stories in your life, and they're not about the plays or the things that you guys did. It's really just about the opportunities that you guys shared together. I think the coaching staff was great over at the West Texas Warbirds. Lots of knowledge, and Coach Tate had a ton of experience playing himself. So I do think that helped kind of mold who we were and what we were going to do in the game. Um, so overall, I would say it was a pretty good experience.
So one of your receivers, who I think is the best receiver right now in all of the sport, is Jalen Childress. He's so talented. What's your relationship like with him?
Little Jay and I have played on multiple teams together. We finally got to link up on the arena ball side of things. I think, if I'm being completely honest, the talent that he has, I think he should take it up and at least try and excel his career. I know that he's content with saying that he's done the pro thing, but I do think that the amount of talent he has can be used in the USFL, XFL, and maybe even one day the NFL. I think the guy is a rare breed for sure.
For sure. And not just him, you had a bunch of talent on that West Texas team. You had, him, Tremont Shorts, Kenyon Burnley, all those guys. So it's really great to see, guys being able to pursue the next level. So right now you look at your football career as a whole, and if this is the end of the road, what's one big lesson you think you took away from all of this?
Remember the moments. I think a lot of times, and it kind of transcends football and goes into life. I think a lot of these things we overlook the small things, and being a football player, your career is built on the small things, doing them all right as much as you possibly can. So not overlooking those small things in pursuit of your career, but like I said, it transcends into life by just being present in those small moments, because they're the ones that you're going to remember the most.
For sure. So kind of coming up on my last few questions for you here. I see on your Facebook that you're big into your faith. Faith is something that's important to you. How important is faith to you, and what has it taught you about yourself?
Faith is huge for me. It's, obviously with my past of having that car accident and being told that if I survived, that'd be a vegetable type deal. And then coming and seeing exactly what football journeys look like. It's God's fingerprints all over the place. So I think what it means in terms of careers and everything is you can get again, kind of wrapped up in the game so much that sometimes you take a step out of the huddle and realize what we're doing this for and who's blessed us to do it. And it puts it all back into perspective, and it kind of brings that calm, cool, collected peace over you.
I love that attitude. So, kind of my last question for you here is, if football is over, could we expect to see you getting into coaching? And what is your plan for the next, let's say, 1 to 2 years?
As far as coaching goes, I'm going to be the head coach of my son's first grade and second grade flag football team. So I know that I'm probably going to coach a couple one-on-one quarterbacks on the side. As far as career, I mean, like I said, I've hung them up multiple times. It's just something I'm going to have a little bit of time to think about. I think that if I decide to roll with it, I want to actually go at it like I know I should. So I got lots of time to prepare for maybe the West Texas Warbirds tryout or trying to get back in there if that's what I decide to do. If not, then I think my coaching aspect will probably be more so related to the faith stuff. It's really what I want to do is just kind of help build men up.
For sure. Well, Chris, it's been awesome talking to you. You're a great dude. I can't wait to see what your future holds, man, and keep grinding.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on, and thank you for the time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
I'm a game changer. I'm a game changer.